Eddie Glaude is back with me, and we are joined by MS Now senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin. Lisa, when you think things can't get any worse, somehow it somehow surprises you. One of the prosecutors actually delivered a form of a mea culpa. Yes. What exactly happened here?
Well, there were sort of a number of irregularities before the grand jury. You alluded to some of them. So the first one was one of the prosecutors basically put her personal credibility and trustworthiness on the line in support of the charges. It's that sort of like, trust me, you can trust me, I'm a prosecutor. That is something that no prosecutor, state or federal, is ever supposed to do with a grand jury. Second thing is they talked to the grand jurors outside of the grand jury room. The third is that they excused grand jurors who disagreed with the government's case from further deliberations when they went to bring a new indictment after a no true bill. That's when the grand jurors say, you know, we're not going to vote to indict this person. They just got rid of the people that they didn't think agreed with them. And then the fourth problem was the one that the judge found the most problematic, which you also alluded to, which is that all of this was redacted from the grand jury transcripts. I'm going to read to you from some of this transcript. She says, frankly, it is that I find the most problematic. Mistakes happen. They happen to all of us. But as I tell my children, you own it. You admit to it. You apologize it, and you apologize for it, and you move on. What you do not do is hide it. Now, the U.S. attorney for this district, the Northern District of Illinois, Andrew Boutros, showed up in court yesterday, and he did take it on the chin. He said that a number of the things that happened here were irregular and wrong, and at the same time said that the conduct of the four defendants whose charges he dismissed was still completely unacceptable. That did not go over well with this particular judge, who said your mea culpa is essentially undermined by the fact that you continue to attack the conduct of the very people who you can no longer prosecute because of these irregularities.
One of these protesters, Eddie, is a former congressional candidate. I want to play what was said on Morning Joe today.
This isn't justice. This case shouldn't have come in the first place. And all of us, we're just normal people. This is a suburban dad, a retired sports fan, a woman that just had a bowling birthday party, a musician, one of my best friends who's devoted his life to helping the homeless, and myself. We're all just normal people, and we're hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal debt, which is the point. We were facing up to 10 years in prison for most of the last 6 months. This is about psychological and financial torture.
If that's the case, Eddie, did the administration get what it wanted, inflicting cruelty, inflicting financial harm, and sending a message to other people who might do the same?
It did exactly that. So if you step out there and you take a risk to exercise your First Amendment rights, if you want to protest, if you want to call attention to the federal government overstepping its bounds, the rights of everyday ordinary folk, you need to understand the risk. And the risk could be just this. And if it wasn't for these Keystone prosecutors, look what would have happened. What could have happened? That more money could have been spent. But here we are.
And frankly, if it wasn't for very good defense attorneys also who were pushing for the grand jury transcripts, which ordinarily are not given to defendants, but they had a feeling that something went wrong, Chris, and they asked the judge to give them access to it. That's when these redactions were discovered. But for that, we would not know of the misconduct here. I want to say one other thing, if I can. That congressional candidate, Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, I believe her name is, she might be well informed to look at that settlement agreement that was just created in the Anti-Weaponization Fund, because if it stays in effect, despite all of the hubbub around it, the way that the terms lawfare and weaponization are defined in the settlement agreement in the fine print suggests that someone like her might have a claim as well. And so these 6 defendants may themselves find themselves to be, in the definition in the settlement agreement, victims of lawfare and weaponization that allow them to recover from this U.S. government.
What do you think the chances are, Eddie, if these folks who the judge clearly said were targets of a crooked prosecution actually tried to get redress from this fund?
I'm sorry. The chances? Well, the sky will be red tomorrow. Those are the odds, it seems to me.